Hello, everyone. Today, as promised, we will continue what we have started in dealing with the other section of the national exam. So, as we have seen before, we talked about the reading comprehension section. We saw how we can deal with the reading comprehension section, how we can deal with the text, and how we can deal with the different components of the text. Today, we are going to deal with the language section. So, as a reminder, the language section is graded as follows. You can see that we deal here with 15 points, 15 precious points. There is no reason for us to lose those 15 points. All right, let's begin. Well, the first question says, fill in the gap or each gap with an appropriate word from the list. So the list means the words that we have provided here. As you can see here behind me, there is the word formal, defend, achievement, prevent, and agreement, as well as global. Well, those words are words that you have already seen during this year, of course. So you should just deal with the rest of the exercise. How many sentences do we have? Well, as you can see, we have three sentences. So we should do our best to people from employing children. Well, I guess this one is obvious. Okay, I think that it will not be we should do our best to formal. No, that does not make sense. Defend, not really. Achievement, uh, that's obvious. It's not the case. Prevent, probably. Well, prevent means stop somebody from doing something or hold somebody back, not allowing that person to do a thing. And here, I think it's the right answer. It's we should prevent, we should do our best to prevent people from employing, sorry, I still like have different conception of the placement of things from employing children. Many world leaders attended last year's conference on warming. Here again, it's a collocation, and we should be well aware of the collocation and how it is used in this context. So, the thing we're talking about here is obviously global warming. Well, let's move to number three, and it says, hence parents are satisfied with her at school. Well, what do you do at school? Studies, right? Work, right? What's about you doing a great job? What do we call it? Anybody? Think about it a bit. I'll zoom out for you so that you can read all the content. Well, can anybody tell me? Now I left you with fewer options so that you can decide. We have used prevent. Okay, we used it. I'll highlight it. We used global. I'll highlight it too. So we're left with agreement, achievement, defend, and formal. You tell me. Hence, parents are satisfied. Satisfied means they are happy with what you did. With her at school. Defend, no. Formal, no. Agreement, that's not the case. Well, we're left with achievement. Achievement is what you reach as a high standard or point when doing something. So we would say, with her achievement at school. Let's move on to question B now. And it says, rewrite the sentences beginning with the words given. Okay. So when you see a sentence with quotation marks, what do you understand? Which lesson is this one? Wait, I'll highlight it so that it's clear for everybody to see. And I will zoom in a little bit. So it says, I have already read that novel, Rebecca said. So the sentence should start with Rebecca said. Anybody? Yes, you're right. So this one here is the direct and reported speech. What is a reported speech? This one is referred to in one of the lessons provided on the platform. You can go back if you feel that it's not well covered by your efforts, as you should make more efforts in order to cover the lesson very well and understand it and grasp the different aspects of it. So the first indicator here are the quotation marks. Well, let me write on the screen for you so that it's better and clearer. Well, the quotation marks are here. All right. Rebecca said. So we are going to say what Rebecca said previously. So Rebecca said that I have already read that novel. Now, because we tell what Rebecca said already, are we going to say I? No, because we talk about her. So that she, remember the rule? What does the rule say? Okay, I'll rewrite that for you again another time while you try to remember the rule. Okay, all right. We should do the first step, which is detect the tense we have in the direct speech, which is have read. Have read refers to the present perfect. And when we do have the present perfect in a sentence, that is in the direct speech, and we want to convert it to the reported speech, we use the past perfect. Remember that you are provided with a chart and it shows you exactly the tenses to use so that no mistakes or no room for mistakes is left. So that she had read the novel. Okay? And you can write it this way. All right. So here we have Mr. Parker was poor. However, he managed to educate his kids well. Well, this one here needs from you a small effort. Okay? We can say, despite being, yes, what? Despite being poor. Okay? Mr. Parker, look here. We have a comma. Despite being poor, Mr. Parker managed. Sorry, I have to write on a tablet while it's not on the desk. And then you continue. So Mr. Parker managed, and then you continue. Managed till the end of the sentence. Managed to educate his kids well. All right. I'm sure that on a paper you will be able to manage that more efficiently than on a tablet because it's squeezed a bit. So let's move on to the next question. The local council will build a new school in our area. Question number three, we'll go back to it later on. Okay, I prefer to start with this one because this one should be normally used or answered after the first one because they are like sometimes confused by students. All right. So the local council will build a new school in our area. Can anybody help with that? What do you notice first? Yes. So we have a new school. Wait, I'll just make a screenshot. Then everything will be fine. Like that. All right. Okay, so a new school in our area, a new school. So this one is here. And this one was in the end of the sentence. So does it remind you of anything? You're right. That's the active and passive voice. Here, you should make the difference and see the difference clearly between the active voice, passive voice, and direct speech, reported speech. Here is the active passive voice. That's the lesson you should refer to in order to answer this question. All right? So let us deal with it again. All right. So what's the answer? I think you've got enough time to answer. What do we do first? You're right. We detect the tense. Here we used will build, which refers to the future. Okay? We detect the doer of the action. Who did the action? The local council. I'll underline that. So what's the answer? So a new school will be built, yes, by, that's optional, by the local council. So we can write by the local council, or we can just write will be built in our area. All right, let's move on to the next part. It says, put the verbs between brackets in the correct tense. What are we going to focus on here? What is the most important element for us? Or what are the most important elements? Yes, you're right. When we talk about tenses, we talk mainly and most importantly about the time indicators. All right. So let's take a close look at the time indicators here. So as you can see, we have last October. We have since then. We have by the year 2016. And now remember, we talk about the national exam. Which one? 2010. So this one here is supposed to be projected in the future. All right. So in a press conference, the president of Al Amal Association said last October, we start a project to fight illiteracy. We work with the Ministry of Education on the same projects since then. Since when? Since last October. I guess by the year 2016, we achieve our goals. Now, I highlighted the time or tense indicators for you. It's your job now to try to answer and try to find the appropriate answers. Okay, let's begin with the first one. So last October refers to a time in the past. Yes, you're right. So the answer is we started. Let me use a note. I guess it would be better for us to use a note. Okay, I'll adjust that. So we said that last October we started. All right. And we worked with the Ministry of Education on the same project since then. Which tense are we going to use with since then? You're right. The present perfect is a tense used with since. But here we talk about, or we focus on the length of the action. So we have been working. Here we use the present perfect continuous. By the year 2016, we achieve our goals. Here you are, so that you can see it clearly. It's here. We, you're right, will have. Will have achieved our goals. I think that's so far clear. All right. So now, if we recapitulate, we used vocabulary in exercise A. We used direct speech, reported speech in exercise B, plus reported speech, direct speech, active voice, passive voice. Uh, we used connectors, and here, if Emma refers to the third conditional. So those lessons are intended generally, plus others, of course, for the national exam. Put the verbs between brackets in the correct tense, like ranged or included a range of tenses, ranging between the past simple, present perfect continuous, and future perfect. Everything is related to a particular time indicator. All right, so maybe I should make a screenshot again so that we can write on the screen. Now we move to exercise D. What does it say? What does the question say? It says match each statement with its appropriate function. Can you do that? Of course you can, because these are things you have already seen. Let me read for you. So, the first one. In my view, parents are too tolerant with their kids, Harry told his classmates. In my view, I think when you read in my view, you can guess the meaning initially, right? You're totally right. So that goes without saying. That's opinion. So what do? We should pay attention to something. We have a section here where we should write the answers. So one goes with B. You're right. So brain drain refers to the emigration of educated and skilled people. So what are the options we have again? We have purpose, we have opinion, we have already used that. We have defining and addition. And because we have refers to, it goes without saying. That's defining. You provide a definition of a word. All right? So number two goes with C. Computers are used not only for learning, but also for entertainment. Not only, but also. So here we talk about, all right, addition. Our team trained hard so as to be ready for the final match, the coach said. Here we're left with this one, and it refers to the purpose. So number three goes with D, number four goes with A. So the indicator, or although now that we have purpose, still as two. You study English so as to communicate with people abroad. So that's your purpose. You study English or you revise for the national exam so as to you pass the exam. By the way, pass the exam is succeed in the exam. All right. So let's move on to question F. Fill in each gap with an appropriate word from the list. Let us go back to the document. So we say, let me hold that this way. Okay. Some students have problems with note techniques, note place, note care, note taking, note fun, note solving. What do you do for your notes? Do you place them, care them, take them, fund them, or solve them? Yes, so it's note taken, and this is a collocation. This is one of the collocations we have seen along the year. Betty always takes off her little sister when her mother is busy. Takes place of her sister? Not really. Takes fun. That does not like make sense. Takes care. Yes, that's the right one. So taking care of somebody is when you look after somebody. For example, you are in a position now where you can take care of your little brothers and sisters. Sometimes you can take care even of your parents when they are in need. So that was the correction and revision of an example of the national exam. This national exam was the one of 2010. I hope to see you soon. You take good care of yourselves.